Earlier we were looking at 4x4s, and later on we're going to head to Malaysia to witness the most grueling 4x4 competition in the world. But first we're going to head to the garage and join Bill Gardiner and ask Bill about the service side of purchasing a 4x4.
Well, you know, Brad, I've had the same 4x4 truck for 13 years now, and I just sold it a couple of weeks ago, so I'm in the market for another one. One thing I can't get over as I look through this magazine with all these hundreds of used ones is how many of them have the feature saying, never driven off-road. Kind of gives you an idea of the type of usage that most people get out of 4x4. Now, I find that around my car repair shop, a four-wheel drive truck is absolutely invaluable. I almost have to have one. In the wintertime when we get those cars and trucks towed in the middle of a storm, you come in the next morning, they're all drifted with snow. I don't care how many guys you've got to push, they're on that same slushy footing, and you're not going to get that vehicle into the shop. The four-wheel drive just brings them in absolutely effortlessly. It's well worth it at that point. But I kind of figure owning a 4x4 truck in this country, it's really kind of like having a swimming pool. There's only a dozen days per year when you can really legitimately say that you really got your use out of it. But when you do, well, you say, well, it was all worthwhile. But you should be prepared, in addition to that additional expense up front to purchase that vehicle, remember that you're talking about some pretty expensive machinery as well. More expensive tires, increased tire wear, increased wear in the driveline, and a more complex driveline. And when you wear out or break things in that driveline, it will greatly increase your maintenance costs. The cost of doing a clutch, for example, on a 4x4, or a transmission, or one of the many universal joints in that vehicle can be pretty high. So you should be prepared for that. Now, I'm more than prepared to do things like that for that usage I get out of the 4x4. And if you happen to live in hilly or mountainous terrain, a real snow belt, or you own a vehicle like one of these ones in the background, one of these large fiberglass boats, for example, if you're trying to launch a big 22-foot fiberglass boat like that, you get on a fairly steep incline on those launch ramps. It's typically covered with algae or slime. It can be very difficult to get that machine back out. A four-wheel drive truck in low range just walks out of there with that thing absolutely effortlessly. You can't believe it. If you've tried it with a rear-wheel drive pickup truck or a two-wheel drive vehicle or maybe a front-wheel drive, you know what I mean. You sit there and burn the tires, and maybe you wreck something on the way out, and you're panicking that the thing's going to slide backwards on you. Now, one more thing, if you're thinking about buying a 4x4 or four-wheel drive vehicle for doing some serious off-road fun, well, think again, because believe me, I've done it with my truck, and I got tired of hours and hours of shoveling mud up and washing mud out from underneath that thing, and I had to go at such low speeds. I was always afraid I was going to crunch the thing. You got all those tree branches scratching both sides, and you were very limited as to where you can go. If you want to have some serious off-road fun, buy yourself an ATV or an off-road motorcycle like this. They're a fifth of the price of one of those trucks, much more versatile. They'll go places where the trucks can't go, and they'll go over terrain that when you're inside of that truck, you'll look like a rag doll in the cab flipping around. This thing will go over it like it wasn't even there. And when you do, if you do make a mistake and crunch it, it'll cost you peanuts to fix something like this. That $25,000 or $30,000 truck, if you scrunch it or roll it, you're going to have some serious expense to repair it. And keep in mind that when you're off-road, your insurance will not cover you. And usually what you do when you crash one of these is hurt your body, and you got health coverage for that, right? So till next week, I'm Bill Gardiner for Motoring 93.